Hi everyone, welcome back to my online conversation series, Keeping Up With. Today, I'm going to be interviewing an amazing person who has been on my to-do list for a very long time now. So I'm so happy that we're here today. I'm going to be interviewing Kelechi Okafor. She is a dancer, actor, director, social commentator, and just an amazing, inspirational Black woman. Let's give it up to Kelechi. Hey,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here as well, Kelechi, because you have been on my list. Literally, I've got a list of people I want to interview, and you are one of the top ones. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Always glad
Um,
to have like great conversations.
I know, especially about this conversation is going to be about mental health and self-care. And
Hmm.
I know you speak about them topics and you're very vocal, which I admire so much from yourself. So I also want to get to know you a bit more and just kind of understand you and how you take care of your mental health and how you take care of your self-care. So good conversations.
Yes, I'm ready.
How have you been today? How's your Sunday?
Sunday's been all right. Sunday's one of my busiest days because I run in
Mm-hmm.
the morning or I do like some sort of form of like physical activity in the morning, and then I record the podcast on the Sunday as well, so it's rather busy, like I'm zipping around from place to place. But it's one of my favorite days because it's a day of creativity, and at the same time it's like a day of like meditation, because I see running as like my moving prayer, like my moving meditation, as it were. So even though like sometimes I'm listening to music when I run, I don't find that distracting. Actually, I feel like for me, it helps me to like drown out the noise of everything else. And then I can process what it is I'm thinking about. And sometimes I go running without music. So yeah, that's like my Sunday kind of ritual. And I think it's important to have rituals.
Nice, nice. It seems like Sunday's a very, like you said, a very creative day, a very mindful and very restful day for you to just unleash your inner self and kind of be confident and do the things that you enjoy doing.
Yeah, definitely. All the rest of and like you see the rest of the streets as well. Like it's not so busy as well. So you just have more space. Well, in my area anyway, you just have more space to kind of like navigate things. And I really like that. I like that for me.
Definitely. Sundays are very peaceful, and I guess, being outside in a calm environment as opposed to the busy rat race on a Monday to Friday, which traffic
Mm,
noise. I guess Sunday's a bit more calming and a bit more soothing.
yes, definitely.
Good, good, good. Well, one thing that I do, well, there's many things that I love about you, but one of the things that are more personal to me is how vocal and how confident you actually are in speaking about your story and how you're not afraid to speak about what you've gone through, but then also empower and inspire other people. Now, it's funny that I said empower because I did watch a TED talk with yourself and you were speaking about empowerment. And you
Mm,
did say you felt that you didn't really empower people, but I feel that you do. I feel that
mm.
when different people empower people in different ways, I feel like I'm reciting back to you.
I love it. I love it.
Back to you. But I believe that on your journey, different people inspire you in different ways, and I do believe
Mm,
that you are a very powerful Black woman, and you can vocalize yourself and articulate yourself in a way that not many Black people can, and it's not
mm,
to disadvantage other people or to kind of bring other people down. But I guess in the world that we live in with so much that's going on, sometimes we need that powerful woman who can vocalize and not to put pressure on you and kind of, put that on you. But, you, for me, I feel like you're making me proud as a Black woman and you're
Thank
inspiring me. How does it feel to be, I wouldn't say labeled as an empowering, powerful Black woman, but how does it feel with, your role and what you do and how you empower people? How does that feel for yourself?
It's a weird one because I don't think like I've actually fully like stepped into it. Like this is one of the things that I talk about in my therapy sessions. With my therapist, I talk about the fact that like sometimes your life grows and then you have to grow into it. Like if you get
Mm,
a new blazer, your parents used to get you a new blazer at the beginning of the school year, and it's just big for no reason, and they're like, you'll grow into it, you'll be fine. And you do, and I feel like sometimes that happens with our life where maybe our impact grows and then we have to grow into it. So it's still kind of weird to me that I'll be like out in the street minding my business, and someone's like, Kelechi! But you know, it touches me because it reminds me that, you know, I am seen and people are hearing me, and it resonates. It resonates with them. I have to balance it, obviously, you know, like with boundaries and things like that, because I think that it's important to remind people that the power that they think that they see in me is it's the power that's in themselves that I'm just merely reflecting, right? And that's what I was basically alluding to in that TED talk, the fact that I don't feel like I can empower someone, like give them the power, but I can remind them of their power, right? And the power's with them the whole time. And I think sometimes we think that we've given it away to other people, or so other people have taken it away from us, when we never really, it's not something that we can give away, and we just forget to use it. And that's not an easy message that people have kind of wanted to hear over the years. I feel like it's only now, you know, in the like past 2 years that people have been like, Kelechi, wow, she's interesting. I mean, I've had my day ones, but you know, a lot of people have been like, oh, she's too loud, she's so angry, she's so aggressive. Now, because of all the things that happen to us collectively as a society, suddenly people are seeking me out because they now need to understand how to process that and how to articulate that, which is something I was doing when we were all sort of like comfortable pretending at a life.
Very, 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 very powerful. And I love at the fact that you said you speak about this in therapy. So it shows that you're very self-reflective on your journey and what you're going through. And you are essentially growing what you are going through, and you're becoming a much stronger person. And you have spoken about therapy. I know in your TED talk you mentioned about what happened when you were younger and how this essentially impacted you. One question that I want to ask is that from when you were younger and what you experienced, how did you find the strength, or what was it that helped you continue to essentially be strong and not give up on yourself?
I think it was because there was, even as, you know, 7-year-old me to now, I'm going to be 35 this year. What I came to realize is that what kept me going was that even, you know, the wounded child, all of that child still believed that there was a better tomorrow. And I think that that's the main reason, like, as much as people struggle with the concept of hope, and some people think it's a rather detrimental, rather destructive narrative to keep pushing hope, because we know that it's been kind of like weaponized within like white supremacist society, patriarchal society, where you're told, you know, your day will come tomorrow, you can suffer today, keep suffering, when actually that's not what we're trying to say. We're saying that if we look at what everything is now, and we have to fight, we have to speak out, we have to do the things that we need to do, because we know that there can be a better tomorrow. So that's how I kind of understand hope. So even as the child me kept going, because like one day she believed that she was going to be like a superstar, she was going to be a superstar actress. That's like all I've ever wanted to be from as long as I could remember. So I feel like even if she, you know, even with all the things that I went through, even with the shame that was attached to it, and how, you know, quote unquote dirty I felt and tarnished I felt, this little girl still believed that she was going to be a superstar. And so that has to keep you going. And so I think that it is fulfilling that child's dream that has meant that I've been able to be here and to do everything that I can. So another little girl isn't out there like struggling and not knowing that it's possible, and thinking that she has to kind of cower to the bullying of society, like she can be someone.
Wow, that is so powerful. And you know, at such a young age, you still had that in the back of your mind, and essentially you still had that belief, you had that core belief that, you know, yes, I've gone through what I've gone through, but I still believe in myself and I believe in my journey. And here you are today with your testimony, you know, sharing like, I have gone through this, but you know, I am a testimony that, you know, things can get better and things will get better. And I guess, you know, with your strength and you believing in yourself, here you are today to kind of inspire other young girls and other young people. I know you was born in Nigeria, and I think you moved here when you were maybe 6, 7, is that right?
Around 5, yeah.
Do you miss Nigeria?
A lot. I miss Nigeria so much, primarily because my skin is not set up for this weather. Like, this weather in Britain is not for me. I don't know how I've managed to survive all of this time in this place, but I miss Nigeria for many reasons. I feel like even the intonation that I still keep in my voice and things like that, you know, like there is still that like lilt, that sort of, you know, that Nigerian essence to it. And I think that that adds to the I guess essence of what the way that I speak and the way that I convey messages, because it's not just quintessentially British. So you know, and I've got my mum to thank for that, because I guess at home it was still Nigeria. It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing out on road. At home, it's still faddy, so you're gonna have to deal with that. So I miss Nigeria, but I want to connect more, because I think that there is a danger also, where I found before, where I'm speaking about things that are happening in Nigeria from a very British perspective, but I'm not having the lived experience of the people who are there, who are socio-economically deprived because of the government. I'm understanding everything theoretically, and I'm just like, well, this is happening because Britain has not taken its claws out of Nigeria, and they're just like, can you shut up, because you don't know what we're going through on the day to day, and we'll take anything right now. We're desperate. We'll take anything right now just to have something that feels like normality, that feels like integrity. So I want to, you know, go back and do more in that sense, which is why I'm building a children's home.
Wow.
Out there. So that's what I'm building, and my mum's helping me with that. So, as you know, all these kind of influencer things that it looks like I'm doing, all of it is for like the money to be able to finish building what I'm building. I didn't want to do a GoFundMe or anything like that in the beginning stages, because I think that a lot of people have become rather skeptical of like GoFundMes and things like that. So I think that it's important to kind of show people, this is what I've done without you. So now if you want to support, come through, but I was doing it without you, okay? Because again, that my focus is always those future girls who literally can be anything, but due to like socioeconomics within Nigeria, we don't know, you know, what can happen to them. And I just want to be the reason that somebody is able to fulfill their dream. And so, yeah, I want to finish building that, I guess, soon.
Wow, I wish you all the best in that. That's
Thank you.
amazing. And I feel like more people, well, I would say more, it's being more vocalized now. We're seeing more people now invest back in Africa. And this wasn't seen back in the day. You know, if you were from Africa, or, you know, would go into Africa, people would kind of make little remarks and little comments. Whereas now we want to build and we want to invest in Africa. And I feel like this is what we should do as Black people. We need to invest back into our country and back into our people. Because I've also spoken to Dr. Teresa. She lives in Nigeria, and we spoke about mental health. And she spoke about how mental health is not discussed in Nigeria. People in Nigeria don't really know much about mental health. It's not spoken about in schools. And for me, we all know that what Black people experience is totally different from white people, and mental health is totally different, and we develop different core beliefs based on our lifestyle. And you know, it's different basically for everyone. And I do believe that, you know, even for myself, I would love to connect with people back home. I'm not well, I'm African, but I'm originally grandparents Caribbean, motherland. But I do believe in going back to the motherland and teaching our people about mental health, because mental health is not an individual problem, it's a cultural problem, it's a community of people. So if we're not teaching our people, you know, our younger generation, then it's going to be something that's going to be ongoing and continuous.
Yes, no, definitely. I think that the younger generation, because of how much access quite a lot of them have to social media, the ones that do have access to it, they are conversant when it comes to mental health. I think it's the older generation that aren't so much, because to them, there's just so much happening there. Like, to take an entire continent of, you know, Africa, take a ruler and be like, you have that bit, you have that bit, you have that bit, as Europe did. That refracted the identities of so many ethnicities, because when we talk about Nigeria, when we talk about all of these different countries within Africa, we talk about them as tribes, not actually as literal ethnicities, different people completely, that were forced together because a ruler just came straight through. Like, literally a ruler came through entire, like, you know, townships and you know, kingdoms, right, and split them up. So even then we played with the identities the collective identities of people by forcing this amalgamation of personalities, of histories. And so then are we surprised when wars break out because you force people together for your own profit? And so those are the things that we haven't even discussed. Mental trauma and colonialism, mental trauma and the transatlantic slave trade, and the intergenerational trauma that's come from that. Fear and research is being done that I think should be more publicized, should be shared more widely, because then we would have at least a ground zero understanding of where we're even starting as the diaspora. And I think that then we can have a conversation, a more fruitful conversation about mental health, because actually we're understanding how our histories were already interrupted by the violence and the savagery of white supremacy. And then we look at mental health as a study, and how it was mainly focused on white middle class men. All of these neuroses that we'll come up with were focused on white middle class men. How do we then enforce that onto Black people? And then are we shocked then when white Black people enter the mental health institutions within this country, that they're like over medicated, not properly diagnosed, because there's no cultural understanding, as you say, of where we're coming from at all, because you're trying to fit us into a framework that wasn't actually for us, which is why I'm grateful that I've had Black women therapists, because not every person is going to understand just because they're Black and woman. But I've been blessed enough that the people that actually help me with the vocabulary when it comes to mental health have been Black women, because they are in the system. They've taken the language and been like, this is what you need to understand from it. So like you say, this is what we need to take back home, take to people, but take it from a narrative of like, at least here are some tools for you to maybe try to make sense of the history that brought you here.
Amazing. And like you said, history in everything and anything in life, history is always the foundation. And if you don't have no foundation, you are going to struggle to build and empower people. So as you also said, we need to identify with our history and what we've gone through in order to then articulate ourselves and provide that mental health support for Black people in order to see that change, essentially. One thing I want to ask you, thank you for sharing about you going to therapy. I'm going to touch on that in a moment. Okay. But one thing I want to go to talk about is within your culture, well, in the African culture, we always hear that mental health is not spoken about, and it's still quite a taboo subject. For yourself, it sounds like you've been around very empowering women, especially your mother. Now, did you feel confident to speak about your mental health and what you were struggling with, or did you kind of have to learn more about yourself and what you were struggling with to then articulate yourself and what you went through?
Yeah, that's interesting. I wrote a piece for Scarlett Curtis's anthology called It's Not Okay to Feel Blue and Other Lies. That came out, in 2019? Was it 2000? I think it was 2019. And it's a collection of essays from different people talking about their perspective on mental health. And actually, I spoke there about how little my mum understood my journey with mental health. Okay. And she's a mental health nurse.
Oh, wow.
Because I think that sometimes we enter into the institutions as, like I said, we're doing it because, this is a white people thing. So I'm a nurse and I'm just here doing this for the white people. Oh, I'm noticing lots of Black people here. What's going on here? Oh, they're not very well looked after. What's going on? And then she's coming to these realizations, right? But that took a while. And I think that when you then see those things and then your child is talking to you about their mental health struggles and stuff, you get scared because you're just like, the only thing when they're talking about this will mean that they're going to end up in that sort of place where I work, and I don't want them there. I don't want them to be subjected to that. So there is a defensiveness there. There is a lack or a resistance or reluctance to understand and to really hone in on what you're being told. But Alice Walker says something really interesting where she says, sometimes mothers and daughters, we birth each other. It's a constant state of the mother birthing the child and the child birthing the mother. We help different aspects of each other come into being, right? And I think that through me and my journey, I've been able to open my mum up to understanding more about how mental health is something that we need to be talking about within the African diaspora, and also for her to consider the ways that she doesn't need to do strong Black woman. As a Nigerian woman, she's just like, I just have to ride these things out. And I'm pointing out to her that actually, no, that's trauma. and you can sit down and you can take your time with that. You need to feel these things. You can't keep pushing them down because you'll go, oh, God will fix it. God is in control. God is in control, but so are you, because you are a reflection of God. Like you're literally a physical manifestation of an aspect of God. So so you also have the power to be able to do the things and make the changes that you want to make. So through that, she's become, I feel, an even more competent and even stronger mental health nurse. Like, she's highly sought after because she's gone on this journey, because I've gone on this journey. So it just goes to show how we benefit each other.
Wow, that is so powerful. Wow, I'm actually lost for words, because the way you explained that, and how you've explained the relationship between yourself and your mother, and how essentially the rebirthing of yourself and your mother, and that deeper relationship has not only helped you, but it's also helped your mum, and collectively it's helped you both. It's helped you in your life and navigate your life, and then it's also helped mum in her life and navigate in her life. So that's very, very powerful, and I absolutely love that. And I think it's, as family, I feel that we need to feel more confident and more competent in speaking about mental health, and it may be a case where we don't need to maybe overindulge with our family and tell them too much, but be open and just be comfortable with just telling mom, dad, family about how you're feeling, but then having a time where, okay, I need to seek professional help because what I'm telling family, they're not able to help me with. Which leads me onto yourself. So you've kind of explained that you've gone to therapy, you're in therapy. How has that for you?
It's been great. It's been a life-changing experience. I don't think I would have been able to do what I do now, and have gone through the things I've gone through in recent years, whether that's a pregnancy, loss and things like that. I would not have been able to kind of go through these things if it hadn't been for the fact that I'd gained so much from therapy. And that's why I feel like it needs to be as accessible as possible. It shouldn't just be when you have money or you can somehow hang in there for 12 weeks or whatever, until the NHS finds you a therapist, and then pray to God that you're assigned a therapist that actually gets what the hell you're on about. I want that to be more accessible, where people have more choice as to who they go to, so they can work through these things. It's important. It gave me lots of language for lots of my experiences, and it taught me how to really tap into empathy, but at the same time to understand that boundaries are needed, and to find the different aspects of my power. Because I think that sometimes we get used to using one emotion as a fuel source, but the thing is that fuel source is going to run out, then what else do you have? And so with all the trauma that I've gone through, one of the sources of fuel that I was able to access was anger. And then you use that, and then you use that, and then you use that, and then you can't tap into anything else, and you don't even understand really the surface narrative that anger provides, but you're needing to look under that layer and look at pain, look at hurt, look at vulnerability, look at shame, look at exhaustion, look at all of these things as the things that are underlying, and know how to work through them, but not relying as anger as the only source, because actually the source that is ever replenishable is love, right? And so being able to tap into that essence of love within myself, no matter if I'm having a sad day, if I'm having a whatever day, the love is still always there. And that is the renewable source. That's the renewable energy source, and being able to access that. So going to therapy helped me to actually find the words to articulate these things. And often I would be there, and the therapist would be like, you're so self-aware, maybe you should come and do my job. And I'm just like, no, but then and at the same time of saying that, they're like, yes, but also what I've noticed is that you're very, very good at intellectualizing everything, because you're trying to avoid feeling the things. You can theorize till kingdom come, but then feel it, you don't want to do it. So my journey has actually been to feel the things. I understand the things.
Wow.
To feel them. And I share that. So when I'm feeling something new, I'm like, hey guys, whenever I feel that I want to share that, I'll share that on social media. Like, I'm feeling this right now. It's very interesting, because we don't feel enough.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I love many of things that you said, but in relation to your emotions, as you said, it's all about unpicking that emotion. And I guess with people, we identify more with the primary emotion, which is the emotion we believe it is in the forefront at the beginning, but then you have secondary emotions such as like sadness and hurt, and it's all about as you said, unpicking that emotion. And being able to understand how to feel that emotion, because sometimes it's very hard to feel an emotion. You may be able to articulate that emotion, I feel angry or I feel upset, but how does that emotion feel? And I guess many people want to suppress that emotion and not feel that emotion because of how it's going to make them feel. And it's interesting that you said about being able to access therapy, because I have a platform, a little bit of promo, no, but I have a platform called Culture Minds Therapy, and we have a listing of Black and Asian therapists. So we give people the control of being able to choose a therapist of their choice if they're struggling with mental health difficulties. And therapists are culturally competent, because one of the things you did say as well was being able to have a culturally competent therapist who can understand you and, you know where you're coming from. And I also believe that that's very important, because I also work in the NHS, and I can see the difference between, the service you get in the NHS as opposed to the service you get privately, which is kind of much more holistic and, giving people that control. Because when it comes to mental health, it's a very personal battle, and you need to kind of, some people might not be ready for therapy, and that's okay. If you are ready for therapy, I think it's important for yourself to even know that you have the choice of what type of therapist you can choose, and kind of, okay, that therapist looks like, they may be able to help me with their experience and background. So I love the fact that you also have said that having a therapist who is culturally competent has helped you. That's like music to my ears. So I'm really, really happy about that. Right. You do, Kelechi, you do so much. And you're very inspiring and empowering. You do your dancing. How long have you been dancing for? How does that make you feel as well when you dance?
I've been dancing forever. I think it's the one thing I've always done. Like my mum would say, even when I was in Nigeria before I came here, we'd live on a compound and there was like these apartment blocks and stuff. And if one of the neighbors were having a party and I saw jollof rice, I'm there, I'm dancing there and getting my plate. What? So I've always dance, and I feel like dance has been one of my only respites. It's been one of my only places of solace. It's not about formal training, although I did go to Brit school, so I did have it was mandatory to do like ballet, tap, jazz, all of that stuff, but it's not something that kind of sat with me. I just like to move, and I just like to move, mainly to Afro beats. I just like to feel the music and do my thing. So how I fell into teaching pole dance, having a pole dance studio, was literally because I'd qualified as a personal trainer. I had all these clients and I wanted to challenge myself to do something else. So I thought, I'm going to go to a pole dancing class. And I went, and I thought, this is really, really cool. And I sort of like moved through the levels really, really quickly. They said to me, oh, do you want to teach the beginners class sometime? I said, okay, sure. And oh, by the way, do you twerk? I thought, of course, a white woman would be asking me as a black woman, just standardly, whether I twerk. Sure. I said, I don't know about twerking, but this is what I do. She was like, yeah, teach that. And so it's interesting, serendipity and how things happen, and how you think that something is a fleeting thought or a fleeting interest. And actually, that is one of the portals to your emancipation, to your liberation, I guess. I wouldn't have thought that random day in February, around 2014, I thought, oh yeah, I'll just go to a pole class, and then we're going to be in 2021. And I'd had, my pole studio for going on I've had it since 2016. So it's been a long time. The studio's grown with me. And dancing is part of my freedom. So dancing is when I feel beautiful. It's when I feel free, when I'm just left to it. And dancing makes me feel, so joyful that sometimes I will post my little dances on Instagram stories, because I know the energy is transferred, and I pray that joy finds other people. And it always does, because people are like, oh, this has cheered me up, just seeing you like just dancing about. Because when do we see Black women just being carefree? There's no rhyme or reason, just being carefree, just having a laugh, because it's important to see the multiple facets of Black womanhood, so we're not made into this monolith of either superhero or angry beast, So that's what dancing does for me.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love how you said about the energy, and the energy that you're giving off, and the energy that people will receive from what you're doing. Because I also believe in energy, and I also believe in, when you're letting off a certain energy, it will appeal to the right people. And those are the people that you need for it to appeal to, and those are the people that you need to kind of inspire you, but then also you inspiring them. You
Mm,
mentioned a lot of things that you do, so physical exercise and dancing and just many things. When it comes to essentially relaxing or even taking care of your self-care, what are the
mm.
things that you go to, or what are the things that you enjoy doing?
When it comes to relaxing, which I don't get to do much of, but that's, you know, on me to create more space. I love Animal Crossing, so I just love like video games, just being able to kind of chill
Okay.
out with a video game. I love that. Just but then typical me, I'm just like, this house, I haven't got enough furniture. I'm gonna have to really focus on getting more furniture for my house on Animal Crossing. But you know, I like having that form of escapism. I love watching comedies, you know, to just laugh the things away. It's important to like laugh.
Mhm.
um so I just love that. I love, like, I'm learning the guitar at the moment, and so I just love playing it terribly. You know, you'll just hear bare strumming, nothing makes sense, but it's fine, because also even that element of being a student, of being a learner in something, that is accessing vulnerability, accessing quote unquote imperfection, although there's no such thing as perfection, but you know, accessing that space of not knowing. And
Mhm.
there is a freedom there as well, because I think in everything else that I do, I'm expected to know. And
Mm,
so I like doing things that I don't know,
mhm,
and to be free to not know. um so yeah, I love that. I love chilling. I love like playing music and singing along. I love country music, Motown, so I'll just blare the music out and just sing along to it. Those things, yeah, they really chill me out. Being alone, love
mm.
that.
100%. I high five for that one. I totally agree. Being alone, being in solitude is the most
Yeah.
important thing ever. And I feel that within today's society, as you mentioned in the beginning, we are so distracted that we don't even realize. So
Hmm.
being alone is so important. And thank you for sharing what you do in relation to taking care of your self-care. Now, I know you are also a mother.
Yes.
What is it like being a mother and balancing your lifestyle and taking care of your mental health as well? How are you finding that?
I'm still figuring it out, because some days are great and then some days are just very, very challenging. I think that somebody that kind of is working through anxiety, if I don't catch myself and I go into my habitual spirals, I could be worrying about just random things and catastrophizing things that will never ever materialize. But you know, you just let it go, because what I think that motherhood has done is just open me up to vulnerability in a way that I've never felt before.
Mhm.
Like, you've created this human, you brought this human into the world, and they are virtually like defenseless as where they are now. And you just want to protect them from the world, but at the same time, you want them to see the world. And at the same time, you understand suddenly, more than ever, very intimately, that there's only so much that you can control. And as somebody that used control as a trauma response, that is very triggering, to not be able to control the entire environment that my son inhabits. But it's forcing me to grow and to understand about surrender, to understand that that control actually is an illusion when it comes to the, you know, us being human, right? There are some things that we have a say in, that we can, you know, impact, but in the larger sense, you know, everything just happens as it will. And you know, when things happen, you deal with them then. But preempting these things will only keep me in that state of anxiety. And so having my son has forced me to be more present, and it's also forced me to be more courageous. I think when people see me online, they think about me as this kind of like ferocious, very confident person. Actually, I'm rather conflict avoidant. When it's people who are very close to me, I would take ages to say something about the ways that they're impacting me negatively, because I don't want to hurt their feelings. And I grew up being very responsible for other people's feelings. So being cognizant of that, being very aware of that, has meant that I've had to think to myself, if you don't want to speak up for you, you're gonna have to speak up for your son. Like, come
Yeah.
on, open your mouth, open your mouth. And so I feel like, you know, even that has shifted, you know, how I move in my personal spaces, but I feel more powerful for it, because we can't perform life. So I can't perform confidence and doing all of these things for other people, where I don't have skin in the game when I'm just doing all of the things on socials and doing everything in the outside world. I've got a lot of skin in the game when it's my personal life. So that's actually where I need to show up and use that power. And so I'm finding that that's really what's shifted, for me, using the power in a way that's going to impact my immediate environment. And I think that overall that sends a ripple effect out into the world. And that's bringing more people to me, because I think that actually the authenticity, or quote unquote, has kind of like permeated every aspect of my life now, that those who are looking from far away can believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they are drawn in. They're like, oh, I want to see more of this. And so I believe in myself more. I think that that's what's important. I believe in my integrity. I believe that I'm doing everything. What I say is what I'm doing. And I can sleep comfortably. I have peace in knowing that. And my son being a mother was what brought me to that realization.
Wow, wow. But very, so when I have these type of conversations, I get, like, I interview many people, right? And everyone's inspirational, everyone's empowering, everyone's inspiring, yes. But there's
Yes.
certain people who I speak to, and our conversations just touch me in a different way. And our conversation today has touched me in a different way. And I feel,
I'm glad.
I'm not even just saying this just because I'm interviewing you and I have to, you know, you've actually inspired me to want to do new things. You've inspired me to feel confident in myself just by the way you're speaking, and I'm assuming the energy that you're giving off to me. And
yes.
you know, as a mother, because I'm a mother as well, and I'm still learning to be a mom. I'm still learning my daughter and kind of just learning how to navigate and balance. But you know, just hearing that, the things that you do, and you know, learning to play the guitar and having time to exercise, and just everything that you do, your self-care, and just everything you do is so empowering and so inspiring. And I feel in awe being in your presence. And I really, really, truly feel really blessed to have interviewed you today, because I learned from many people, but I've definitely learned from you. And oh man,
the energy is amazing, because, you know, and you asking the questions, you know, sometimes I don't think about these things. If you didn't ask me them, I wouldn't consider them, you know, so I just couldn't go about my business. So I think that, you know, I'm thankful to you because you've made me consider what I'm doing. You know, like sometimes you do the thing, you're not considering how you're doing the thing. So thank you. Thank you for asking me.
Oh, no, I want to give you a hug. But you know what as well, it actually feels very, I don't know why, I feel like it feels very emotional speaking to you. And I feel like, I don't know what energy is getting transferred through this computer, but it feels very, I feel very emotional, but I feel very lifted, and I feel very energized.
I love that.
Just, do you know what? You have inspired, like, no word of a lie, you have inspired me a lot. And this conversation means so much to me.
I'm glad.
Do you know, it's hitting me in a way, and I don't know why. I don't know why.
No, but I'm just back. But I think that when people who like you know, are on that vibe together, come together in that way, because you know, it's about the intentions. Like, you've got cultured minds, and we want change, and we want it not for just ourselves, but for other people. And I think when you connect in that way, it's overwhelming. And I'm always thankful to Spirit for aligning me with the people who are also out there with the same intentions, because we feel each other. And I think that what we then feel in terms of these emotions, it's like what we were saying earlier about accessing that self-replenishing source of love. When you tap into that momentarily, just feel that, it's just like, whoa, I could feel this all the time. Well, damn. And so when I get those moments, you know, when we're talking about being in solitude, and I get those moments, I burst into tears, because it's not a crying from sadness. It's like, like, this is a lot to feel, of just goodness, you know. And then when you can feel it with other people, that's even better, because that's the point. Not just to feel it alone, but to feel it with others. So we're out here, we're doing the things, especially as mothers, you know. It's important that we know where that feeling is.
So so powerful. Wow. Oh my God, like the connection. Oh wow.
Yes.
I can talk to you forever, like literally. Thank you so much for,
my pleasure,
you know, giving your time out of your busy schedule to speak with me and inspire me and share your story and just be so real and authentic. And one thing I love about you, actually, you're so real. You are so, you don't sugarcoat nothing. Like in your TED talk, it's like rap, social commentator. It's like, we need more of this, because as people grow and, they become established and they inspire people, they tend to kind of water themselves down, but you stayed your authentic self. And I guess that's the reason why many of us love you, because you're just real, just you, and you're not afraid. And, you're going to inspire the next generation to not be, if Kelechi can do it, if Kelechi can be herself and, represent Africa, represent being born and bred and raised in Nigeria and then coming to London, we can all do it. We can, not afraid to be Black and who we are. Like, Black is because Black is amazing.
It's amazing. And I think that because I've gone through a forgetting before, from the sexual trauma as a child, and then having to remember, you never want to forget yourself again, because that remembering is such a painful process. People talk about healing as if it's just la 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 la, it's just lovely and daisy chains. Healing is horrible. It's horrible. And then it's not chronological either. It's not linear either. So you'll go forward and then you'll be going forward and then poof, you find yourself back at 7 years old and then you're like, why am I here? And I look at all of that and I think, so the person that has emerged is the person that I'm so proud of and so in love with. And I know that my inner child, the one that had to get me here, would be so proud of. So then why would I let institutions make me leave that at the door in order for a couple bags? Because it doesn't make sense. And I think that having the studio also means that I've got that stability, that don't care, you don't have to invite me onto your TV show, don't have to do this, because at least I've got the studio and I'll just keep doing that. And I want that. I know that people are in traditional employment and things like that, so they have to be very careful about how they navigate things, but at the same time I know that they support me in doing this thing as well. So so we all we all help each other, we all support each other. But yeah, I just feel like there's no point in doing speaky spokey when you get to these places, because that's how they'll now start misquoting you and whatever else. It's important for people to know the real you, so when someone comes to lie on your name, they're like, no, Kelechi will do many things but she won't do that. So thanks so much.
Definitely. Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
Please do keep in contact. You are
definitely.
Oh my God, you're amazing. Thank you so much. And
my pleasure.
And I wish you all the best with everything you're doing. Please keep pushing. Always implement your boundaries. Don't overwork yourself. But please keep being you, because you are inspiring so many of us. And like, I remember when I told my auntie, actually, do you know what, let me pause it. But yeah, thank you so much. And I look forward to kind of catching up soon.
Yes.